Hey guys, Chris here. I want to do a video today on semen retention 13 months. So it's been 13 months now on this journey, and the last milestone I think I did a video for was 11 months. Hitting the 1 year mark does make a massive difference. It feels you feel very proud, like a great achievement. I think 1 year, it just feels like once you get to that point, a lot of pressure's off. You don't really count the days as much, although I would say it's like that after 6 months or so anyway. But yeah, I think when people who know you're on the path and say, well done, you've done a year, it just feels like, wow, I've actually done a year. And yeah, you kind of feel a bit different, and you don't really, like for me, don't really count the days. I mean, obviously done the video now, I think, saying 13 months, but I think since that point I've not really been like, oh, this is how many days I've been doing it, or identifying as a kind of person who's on semen retention and watching the semen retention videos and the benefits, because you kind of already know that, and the goal of this is to focus on your own life, and when you stop giving your power away, your energy away, what you can do with this power. And as I've said on other videos, semen retention wants you to wake up. It wants you to get rid of the things that aren't serving you, whether it's people or the bad habits. And I spoke on various things on this channel. For example, like quitting coffee was a big one. So that's been nearly 6 months with that now. And yeah, like for that, I don't even crave any kind of caffeine. So you kind of just wake up and you've got this energy, and you want to focus on yourself and what you can put that energy into. And very much about being, what is your purpose now, and focusing on that. YouTube as well is something that I've kind of stopped watching recently as well, in terms of just other male influencers or other people who've got other opinions about things. You realize it's about you and your truth and what you stand for, and it's more powerful, I find, to be someone who stands for something and has values and talks about things and can be a leader, rather than just consuming endless content. If you're interested in a particular topic, of course it's good to indulge in it and find out more, but after a while, no. Things like politics and a lot of this stuff as well, I think it's good to not give too much energy to other things that sometimes you can't control, and focus on what you can control and living your best life. And the people will flock to you as well, great people. For women as well has always been an interesting point. The guys who've said, women look at you and they're all over you, and I found for me it's about meeting the right person. I find the right women are maybe drawn to you or speak to you, and the ones where it's quite surface level, and maybe they're always on their phone and this sort of stuff, those kind of women don't really appear, or they do, and they're not really drawn to you as much. And I think that's for good reason, because it's not what you want, and people attach to different people attach to people for their trauma and this sort of stuff. So I think I was learning a bit more, as you become really peaceful inside, people become drawn to that energy, but they don't necessarily always become attracted to that energy, if that makes sense. So and it's not taking that personal, because like attracts like, and you look at your journey so far, and like for me to now want to meet a more peaceful, calm kind of woman is different to maybe meeting a woman where there's more drama going on, and a lot. So people are attracting different people, but essentially you attract a mirror, who you are, and when you see that in the other person, I think that's where you feel great and you feel that connection. So deep connections are important, and you stop settling for less. So anything less than meaningful conversations, for example, and these are harder to find. So the difficulties of being on this journey as well is that you begin to become more isolated. People are very different, but you are very comfortable in your own skin. I was in this like spiritual song circle last night, and I felt like good in my own skin, like who I am, when I went up to someone and said hello. and I wasn't too bothered about trying to fit in and this sort of thing, because it's hard to just fit in. I think I don't think anyone really fits in anywhere, but I think if you can connect with yourself and feel connected to something greater, which from the likes of semen retention is, because it is ultimately, I think, a spiritual practice, because it does allow you to connect more to something divine, and allows that to shine through you as you have more power, and because everyone's giving their power away, which I think is part of the releasing on and not doing semen retention. You're more likely to be consuming high dopamine activities because you're in that sort of role, and lust has sometimes taken over, and I did actually look at pornography as well, like about a month ago or like 3 weeks ago or something like that, and I thought I'd just watch it, and then my dopamine just left, like all sort of drive, and the rest of the day I was in my head, but I woke up the next day and it was a new day, and focused on myself, and obviously glad I didn't look to sort of pleasure myself doing it, and it felt good to resist that, and it feels like nothing has power over me. But I think you're always going to find your challenges online, and you see someone who you find attractive or this sort of thing, but it's the willpower and discipline to say, like, no, I'm not gonna do this. I can look at this, but it cannot control me. And yeah, you're always going to find them challenges. You go out and you sit down one day and there's a certain woman across the way, and she could be very flirty, and maybe it's not the right kind of woman for you. So there are always these challenges that are being pushed to you. But I think pornography, I go through Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, not very much, but when I do, it's amazing how many sort of images and videos which are very sexualized now, and just thumbnails with millions of views and all this sort of stuff. And I think it's just good to avoid indulging in that, or when you see it, just discipline yourself to not get drawn into it. But the less it's kind of available to you, the better. So in terms of the next chapter now, where this goes, it is very much, I think, focusing on your purpose and what it is that you want to do, your lifestyle, the day in, day out stuff, every moment. It's always about the present moment and enjoying every moment. With porn and releasing and this sort of stuff, it was always about a certain moment. When you're in that activity, it feels amazing, but when you're not in that activity, it doesn't feel great, and you've got to listen to the signs in your body. Ideally you want to be present in every moment, and you can find joy in the simple things, and it's about getting to that point, and doing more of that. And I think the more you do retention, the more it gets you to that point. So that was me. Mentioned a few things there. I didn't really have an agenda, but just over a year, 13 months, and we'll see where it goes, and I'll see you in the next video.